So what will you want me to write? Yes? Very good. And now we need the least common denominator, which is? So then the adjustments would be for the second one and for the last one. So now what will you write at the top?
8 minus 2 minus 3.
Good. So this will be x to what power? 8 minus, so yeah, so this is 3 over 12, which is?
1/4.
And this will be the fourth root of x.
Why was that so much? Yeah, why was that so much easier, Halo?
Because it has a negative exponent, and you have to rationalize. This one did not have a negative exponent. Okay, so let's take a look at 68. So the cube root of 24, a to the 5th, b to the 7th, 1 minute. And then let's find the distance in 78. Negative, oops. So negative the square root of 2 comma 0 and 0 negative 4 the square root of 6. And then we'll look at the midpoint. Okay? Yes, completely agree. So this will be the cube root of 24 times the cube root of a to the 5th times the cube root of b to the 7th. So 8 and 3, I agree. Yes, a to the 3rd and a squared, I agree. And the last one? Go back 1, go back 1, go back 1. Don't guess. Say it again. Back 1.
6 and 1.
Exactly. B to the 6th and b.
So like that don't make sense though, because for 5 you don't go back 1. But then other times you do go back 1. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense.
5 over 3 is not an integer. 4 over 3 is not an integer. But 3 over 3 is an integer. That's why I stopped at 3.
So only because 3 goes into 5 once. But the next one goes
You can do that in the same way. Yep. Correct. So can anyone give us the final answer? No, the cube root of 2. The cube root of 8, which is 2. Then the cube root of a cubed, which is? And then the cube root of b to the 6th. Good. So then what is left under the cube root?
B and a squared.
3.
What?
There is a 3 from here, right? We couldn't take the cube root of 3. We only took the cube root of 8.
Oh, you can't simplify it like that.
A squared and? Very good. Perfect. Okay, let's 78. Let's find the midpoint and the distance for these two. So I have to write the distance formula, which is the square root of
X minus x2
x2 minus x1, everything squared.
plus
Yes?
x1
Y2 minus y1, everything squared. Write the numbers underneath. So this will be x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. I write x2 as being 0. I write x1 as being negative the square root of 2. I write y1 as being negative 4 the square root of 6. And I write y1 as 0. Are we okay so far?
You said we're finding the midpoint?
The distance first. This is the distance. It's the distance and then the midpoint. If you want to start with the midpoint, you can, sure.
I just wanted to know what we're finding.
So we are finding the distance first. Okay. How much is 0 minus negative the square root of 2? The square root of 2, correct? Yes, we agree? 0 minus negative the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. How much is the square root of 2 squared? Very good. I'm here with plus. Negative 4 the square root of 6 minus 0 is negative 4 the square root of 6. Please square negative 4 the square root of 6, and I'm going to write it here in 2 steps.
6.
Correct? Multiplied by? Perfect. Negative 4 squared is 16, and the square root of 6 squared is 6. So then this is D is the square root of?
98.
98, I agree. I have to split this. It's divisible by 2 because it's an even number. Therefore, I can write it as 49 and 2. So then this is the square root of 49 is, and the square root of 2 is the square root of 2. Let's find the midpoint.
Isn't it just x1 plus x2 over 2?
Yes.
y1.
The average of x's and the average of y's. Very good. So I have negative the square root of 2 plus 0 over 2 is simply negative the square root of 2 over 2. The other one is 0 minus 4 the square root of 6 over 2, which is negative 4 the square root of 6 over 2, and I simplify by 2, and I get negative 2 the square root of 6. So these are the coordinates of the midpoint. Negative the square root of 2 over 2, and negative 2 the square root of 6. Say it again.
Why is there an equal sign?
In here.
So you put it up there. So you plugged it.
So I added x1 to x2, x1 to x2, and divided by 2. And I got this. Then I added y1 plus y2 to y2 over 2, and I got this. Then I put this instead of the x coordinate, and I put this instead of the y coordinate. Better? Very good. Moving on, 10.4. Let's work on 94. 2a, the fourth root of 32, b to the fifth, minus 3b, the fourth root of 162, a to the fourth b, and plus the fourth root of 2a to the fourth b to the fifth. Three minutes, although this may require a little bit more than 3 minutes because it's a long problem. Any questions? Yes, yes. Yes, please work on it so you see how this works when you do it on your own. And then we'll do it together, of course.
That's fourth root.
They're all fourth roots, 2a to the fourth, b to the fifth. Let me know if you need my help. I'll come over and help you. Mike, are you okay? You have any questions?
I'm just kind of lost, to be honest.
Please tell me on what? Which problem?
Like, pretty much all of it. So, I don't know, I think I might know it.
Can you be a little bit more specific?
So the, like the 4 root 32.
So you're talking about, you're not talking about the previous problems, you're talking about this problem, right? Oh, okay, okay. So you have 2a, the fourth root of 16 times 2 times b to the fourth times b. You need the fourth root, and 32 is not a perfect fourth. So you'll split it into 16 and 2, and 5 divided by 4 is not an integer, and you have to stop at 4. So then you will split them into 2a outside, the fourth.
Just trying to get like the numbers the same.
I'm trying to simplify each radical completely till it cannot be further simplified. This will come out of the radical, this will come out of the radical. So this will be 2a multiplied by 2 and multiplied by b, and these have to stay. So I will put them back into this fourth root of 2b, not a.
Like, why did you need to break up the b?
Because 5 divided by 4 is not an integer. But 4 divided by 4 is. Is that better? So I have the simplified form of the first radical into 4ab, the fourth root of 2b. I think you find, I hope you find that splitting it from the beginning is easier than working with the whole thing.
It is. It's just hard sometimes when you're trying to
I agree.
two numbers.
I agree.
I get two numbers.
Can anyone give us the simplified form of the second radical?
9ab.
So you replace this by 2 and 81. So this is negative 3b, the fourth root of 2, the fourth root of 81, the fourth root of a, and the fourth root of b. So negative 3b outside, this is a 3, and this is an a. But these two will stay under the fourth root. So this will be negative 9ab, the fourth root of 2a. Would you agree with the second radical? We agree with the second radical. Do you want me to walk you through again? Yes? Okay. So negative 3b is negative 3b. Instead of 162, I have 2 and 81. The fourth root of 2 and the fourth root of 81. Instead of the fourth root of a to the fourth, I have the, So I have the fourth root of a to the fourth and then the fourth root of b. Is this okay? So negative 3b, I have the fourth root of 2, the fourth root of 81, the fourth root of a to the fourth, the fourth root of b. Yes or no?
What's the fourth?
3.
3.
3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So negative 3 is in front. The fourth root of 81 is 3. The fourth root of a to the fourth is a. And then these two go back under the fourth root. Is this okay?
Where's b to the fourth?
Oh, it is b. I copied a for some reason. Because I didn't copy the power. Okay, is this okay? So now, negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. There is an a and a b in front. They're in front, and then the fourth root of 2b. So this was the first radical, and this is the second radical. Are you with me? Yes? Okay. So now the last one, the fourth root of 2, a to the fourth, b to the fifth. Can anyone oh no, this is sorry about that. It's a phone that is just for safety reasons because these are always updating and stuff. So this is a phone that very few people have, and I just yeah. This is for safety. It really is. It's something that I will not disregard because in many places the other phones are just dead. This works anywhere. Sorry about that. Okay, so can anyone split it? Okay, good. So good. I'm happy that you are awake and interested. Good. So what do I write? So a to the fourth and then b to the fourth times b.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Okay? So then what goes out is this and this. So it's an AB, the fourth root of 2b. We agree or disagree? Okay, so now we have all three. They are like radicals for many, many reasons. Here it is. One reason is the fourth root of 2b, the fourth root of 2b, and the fourth root of 2b. Second reason is ab to the same power, ab to the same power, ab to the same power. So then final answer.
Negative 4ab, fourth root of 2b.
I completely agree. Negative 4ab, the fourth root of 2b. Good. Okay, moving on. Still on page 640. Any questions?
Oh, no.
Okay, perfect. Still on 646. Let's look at 100. I agree. I completely agree. 1 minute. Cube root of a plus 2, everything squared. And then 110, which is the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3. Everything divided by the square root of 2 plus the square root of 3. And then 121. You don't have to copy anything but the first one right now. Can anyone give us the answer for the first one?
It's
Right to it.
third root of a to the second.
Very
plus
good.
4 third root of 8 to the second.
Excellent.
Plus 4.
Excellent. Jason used the contract that we made a month and a half ago, and he said this: the first term squared plus 2 times the first times the second plus the second term squared. Excellent. So the cube root of a times the cube root of a is the cube root of a squared, plus 2 times the cube root, 4 the cube root of a, plus the second term squared, which is 4.
Why is it squared?
I'm sorry?
Why is it 4 to the cube a? Why isn't that squared?
One more time. The first term squared plus 2 times the cube root. There is nothing squared now. 2 times the cube root is 4 the cube root plus the second term squared.
That actually makes sense.
Excellent. Good. So here we're asked to rationalize the denominator. So what do we do? Very good. Excellent. So please multiply them. Tell me what you get. Okay, ready? The denominator is the easiest. What would you tell me to write as the denominator? Very good, excellent. What about the top?
It's square root of 2.
2. No, be careful. This is a binomial squared, please. So this times this is 2. This times this is?
Square root of 6.
And sign?
Minus square root of 6.
Very good. This times this? Which is? Excellent. And this times this? Plus? Good. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 1 apple minus another with negative square root of 6 minus the square root of 6 is?
A negative minus a negative.
You owe me the square root of 6. And then you owe me,
0 square root.
very good, thank you. Divided by? You can come in if you want to. Have a seat.
I know I'm early, sorry.
That's fine. Have a seat.
No class to go until 6:30. But
So 2 minus 3. Good. So now what I recommend is split it as we normally do with complex numbers, although this is not a complex number. 5 divided by negative 1 will be negative 5. Negative 2 the square root of 6 divided by negative 1 will be positive 2 the square root of 6. Okay, we're working on 121 unless you have questions on 110. Any? Yes, please.
So, okay, how did we get 2 to the square root of 6?
You owe me the square root of $6, and then you beg for another square root of 6. And now you owe me 2 the square root of 6.
Okay.
Or we can say it the other way around. I owe you the square root of 6, and then I owe you again the square root of 6. So I owe you twice the square root of 6, or 2 of those.
There's too many rules. I know.
Okay, 121, please. This is an equation. What type of equation is this? How do we address this?
You want to square root of 6?
I can't. The way it is, I could not do it. So what do I have to do first?
Try to get the radical.
Exactly. Excellent. So how do I do that? You have to get it by itself first and then square. You can't square this, because if you square this binomial, you will never get rid of the radical. You will have 3 terms.
Do you want to take 2 instead of 7?
Of course. But I recommend this. Because the radical has a negative in front, I recommend this. Of course, you will get the same answer if you don't follow this particular step, which is fine. You'll get the same answer. And now, now you square. Good. So let's take a minute and work on this.
So in order to square it, you gotta put the radical by itself.
Exactly, because otherwise when you square this, you will have 3 terms and one of them will still have the radical inside. So once you have the radical alone on one side, then you will get rid of it when you square. So what do I do next? Can anyone give us the left-hand side?
25x? No,
That's it.
You're right. You're right. The right-hand side is indeed 25x. I agree with that. Excellent. 4x squared minus 2 times 2x times 3. 2 times 2x times 3.
4x.
Write it down. Write it down. You don't have to do it in your head. 2 times 2x times 3. 12x. And then
Negative 3 squared.
we already took
Plus
care of the negative. The negative is only in this term, so don't even look at the negative. Plus 9. The last term is always positive. Good. What type of equation is this? Perfect. How do I solve a quadratic? Excellent. So then 4x squared.
Plus.
Careful, because I'm bringing a negative 25x.
37.
37x. Plus 1.
Good. Now we want to factor this. This is the product of the numbers we need to determine, and this is the sum. So we're looking for 2 numbers whose product is 36 and whose sum is negative 37. Yes, please.
How do we know that?
We know that from, yes, I'll show you in a second. We know this from chapter 6, from the previous course, which, because you may want to practice with this. Okay, so here it is. It's on page 398 in chapter 6, factoring polynomials. They present, see here, the product 30 and the sum is 11. So if you would like to read this, that would be perfect, because here is an example in which the leading coefficient is not 1. So this is what I'm showing to you right now. Okay, chapter 6 of page 398, in case you want to go back and read it. So chapter 6, page 398. Okay?
So it's because of the leading coefficient.
Because the leading coefficient is not 1, I have to incorporate it in the product. Okay? So the product is 36 and the sum is negative 37. Now,
Negative 36 and negative 1.
I agree. Negative 36 and negative 1. So now I go back and rewrite this equation as 4x squared with the numbers that I just determined. Actually, Jason did. And plus 9 equals 0. And now we factor by grouping. What will you factor out from the first 2? Very good, 4x. What is left in parentheses?
4x minus 3. X minus 3.
So now from the other 2, What should I have? What should I come out with? Without which I can't continue. It has to be the same thing, otherwise I can't continue. So it has to be x minus 9. Now let's look. I need the symbol and a factor. What? Very good. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. Now the common factor comes out, which is? What is the common factor here that I see in both terms? X minus 9. And in parentheses?
4x minus 1.
So there are two options, x equals 9 and x equals 1/4. This,
Isn't it extraneous?
I'm sorry?
Isn't it extraneous?
I don't know. I have to check. That's why I put the question mark. I have to go back to the original problem. The original problem was 2x minus 5 the square of x equals 3. So I'm checking. I have 3 more minutes. I'll finish this problem. I'm checking 9. 2 times 9 is 18. The square of 9 is 3 times negative 5 is? Does this equal 3?
Yes.
So I will say x equals 9 is the correct solution, is a solution. And now I'm checking 1/4. So 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. The square of 1/4 I know is the square root of 1 over the square root of 2, which is so then 1 over 2 minus 5 over 2 is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Negative 2 equals 3? No. So since I have just 1 more minute, allow me to select a couple of problems from the last section. So I recommend problem 130, problem 134, 138, and 140. Thank you for coming. I will see you on Tuesday. Same page at the end of the review. Same page with all of them. Thank you. Please turn in your homework if you have it. And please stay if you have any questions.